Hi everyone, in this tutorial I'll be showing you how to use the text engine tool in After Effects. So I've already added created a new composition and added a new text layer with the following font face and font size. Maybe I just change it to 85. And I've also added notes. So if you double click on the layer, you'll see the step-by-step notes of what you need to do in order to create the animation with the text engine tool, which is an extremely powerful new addition to After Effects. Text engine tool basically allows you to add countless number of animation for individual letters based on minimum number of keyframes, as I'll be showing you. So once you add your text, you'll see that on the right hand side, when you open your layer up, you'll see that you have your basically the animate button here is the text engine tool. So you want to create the animate and choose position. Once you choose position, basically you're telling the text engine tool that you want to change the position of your text layer and also to animate each individual letters. And so I'm going to go ahead and open up the range selector. So now the first thing you need to do is click the offset keyframe at 0 point, and then keyframe the position, and then move your text layer to a different position, and now change the time indicator to a different place, like a 3 seconds, and change the offset to 100. As you could see, with these 3 basic keyframes, I'm animating each letter on my comp. I'm gonna go ahead and actually show the power of this engine here. So now once I set the animator up, you'll see that next to animator I have an add button, which means that once you have the main text engine tool here, you can keep adding properties without having to add additional keyframes. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to click add, and this time I'm going to choose rotate. And remember, with rotation you need 2 keyframes. So actually I'm going to go ahead and choose the position, and I'm going to choose 1 rotation. So now you'll see that my text rotates 1 full circle as it falls down. If you want this to play slower, you can just drag the final keyframes. Now you can see the animation is playing slower, and I'm going to use this arrow key to move to a different to the previous keyframe. So remember, you need only 1 animator, but you could have multiple add-on properties to it. So I'm gonna now choose my add button, and now I'm going to choose I can do scale. So once I add the scale, maybe I want to say start with 200, maybe even bigger, like 300. Now so again, only 1 keyframe I'm adding, so it's kind of changes the property to whatever I set it, and then the final keyframe, which is based on this offset, changes it to the value that I had set for it when I initially started my project. So as you could see, based on the minimum number of keyframes, I can create pretty intensive animations here. So I'm going to go and choose another one, and this time I'm going to choose blur. And the blur, if I activate it, this is the X and the Y property. So right now it's locked, which means that it's going to animate both vertically and horizontally, which is maybe something that I want, but maybe for this exercise, I'm gonna unlock this again. This is gonna animate the width. I'm gonna change this to, let's say, 0, and I'm gonna change, I want to blur it from the height angle. So now you can see that you can come up with pretty interesting results. And again, these are based, this complex animation is just based on minimum number of keyframes. Again, I can just keep adding to this. So if I do tracking, maybe I wanted to track like really wide. I think it was a little too wide. Yeah, there we go. So you can kind of add like some kind of a movement. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, I think it was a little too wide for this, so maybe I'll just do it like something like that. Yeah, that looks better. We can just add a slight movement to it as well. Again, I can keep going here, and this time I can add wiggly, and wiggly is like a preset engine that allows me to wiggle each individual letters by itself. And let's say if you don't like one of the properties, you can simply go ahead and click on it and delete it from the list. And the last thing I'm going to change is maybe fill color, and by default it's set to red, but I can click it and change it to any other color. And once again, you see that it starts with that shade, whatever shade I've created, and it defaults to that blue shade. And if I want this to start a little later, I can simply move the keyframe somewhere like here, and actually I can just go back and make another keyframe and change it, so you can just animate between colors if you wanted to. Actually, let me go back. I think I'll just make another, I keyframe the wrong layer, so there we go. To start with pink, it goes to green, and I can keep going. So again, you want to make sure you keyframe it, and then of course it defaults to white. So this is the power of the text engine tool, and how you can create complex animation based on minimum number of keyframes.